from the campus of Arkansas State University, this is Centennial Reflections.
On to victory, breaking the second to none. Let's make this game history, along with the others in one. The red and white shall ever wave on high for ages through.
Welcome to Centennial Reflections, a series about the history of Arkansas State University from its time as an agricultural school back in 1909 to its present status as a multi-purpose university. I'm Rich Carvell, host for this series, and I'm joined today by Henry Jones, who for many, many years was president and CEO of the Greater Jonesboro Area Chamber of Commerce, and so worked with a lot of folks at Arkansas State University. But I want to take you back before that, Henry, to when you were a student here. When did you go to school at A-State?
Well, I enrolled in January of 1981. That's when I came to Jonesboro. I came to ASU in January of 1957. In fact, I was here when they had the last great ice storm at that time. And then graduated in 1960. And those were happy times. Those were the happy days, as we refer to them in a lot of chronology. It was after the Korean War and before the Vietnam War. And things were beginning to happen at Arkansas State College. The idea of university status had come up, and we made an effort that took almost 10 more years before.
That was in 1959, if I remember.
59, right. It was in the legislature, and it passed the state senate, but didn't get through the whole legislative process. But that was the beginning, and it was the students began to realize there was something special and something different about Arkansas State College as relating to the other state colleges in the state. And things were going real good. KASU radio started up. I was a journalism major, and so we were allowed to take some radio courses if we wanted to, and that's where I found out that writing for radio is much more difficult than writing for newspaper. And we were so used to newspaper copy that it was a difficult transition when you went to your classes on radio.
Well, as a journalism student back then, you obviously knew Tex Plunkett.
Oh, well, Tex Plunkett, of course. He was the journalism department. He was the one that encouraged the beginning of the radio program, which now is, radio, television, and journalism is what I think one of the most important things we do here in that area, of course. Tex was my advisor, my mentor, and believe it or not, he even tutored me when I was having trouble with Shakespeare, which was an English course that I had to pass.
He had a background in English, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
His father was an English professor here. Yeah.
Right. And so, when in our journalism courses, the emphasis was on correctness and correct grammar and punctuation and all that. Of course, you had editors to correct you if your stories were written a little funny, but nevertheless, but Tex knew it all. And he was a great influence on my life, and I always enjoyed the fact that when I had football practice, I was the student manager, the equipment manager for the football team for three falls, and he'd be out there watching them, and he really enjoyed the Indians and the student athletes, and they were truly student athletes.
Well, you brought your letter sweater as manager.
That's right. Ike Tomlinson there were 3 managers, and we all got letter sweaters just like the football players did. I think the football players worked a little harder to get their letters, but nevertheless, it was quite an experience and something I really enjoyed. And last fall, they had the 50th reunion of one of the teams, and since I was equipment manager, I went out there and they all remembered me and I remembered all of them. So it was a great time.
Well, let's move into your Chamber of Commerce days here in Jonesboro. cities which host universities sometimes don't have good relationships. Sometimes referred to as the town-gown relationship. What about ASU and the city of Jonesboro?
Well, fortunately for the university and for the city, it's been a good relationship. And it goes all the way back to 1909 when the city leaders at that time led the effort to get the district agricultural school located in Jonesboro instead of one of the other communities.
There was actually kind of a bidding
process.
That's right.
It was like recruiting an industry, like they do today. They put their money on the line, they put their land on the line, and their efforts, and more important in a lot of ways, their interest in it. And that's been maintained throughout the years. You can see it during the years trying to get university status. And not everybody gets it, but most people in the city of Jonesboro do get it. And it's one of those fortunate things. It sets Jonesboro separate from all the other fine communities in Arkansas that don't have a college or university. And so it's a marriage that really works out. And I'm pleased to say that today it's still that way. And the university has been most helpful when I was with the chamber and in recruiting industry.
How important does that play in recruiting industry?
Really, really important. Arkansas State having food science courses available helped us attract the food processing industries that we were so successful in getting in the last 10 years or so. There were a lot of other factors, but that was another plus, and all the pluses you can build up helps you be the community that's selected for these big capital investments. So, and ASU has assisted in other ways. At any time that we needed somebody from the university to visit with a prospect, or we needed to bring a prospect on campus, they were always available. They always said the right things. You didn't have to coach them. It was just a natural thing. What Arkansas State University was doing was the thing that industry has been looking for. Now, a lot of the industries don't say a lot about that, but I know one of the industries they recruited in the last year that's just started up has said a lot about how they were here because of the university's ability to do, for them to do research for them and with them. And
we'll come back and talk a little bit more about that in just a moment.